Hello and welcome to my channel. I hope you enjoy this story. I'm going to try and upload a new story each day. The Sinister Serenade. In a dimly lit attic of his ancestral home, the renowned composer, Victor Montague, found solace in the haunting melodies that echoed through the ancient halls. Every night a mysterious serenade played in his dreams, an otherworldly composition that both captivated and terrified him. Its eerie beauty lingered long after he awoke, compelling Victor to transcribe the ethereal notes onto sheet music. As Victor began to craft the symphony that had imprisoned his sleep, he found himself lost in a world of dark crescendos and chilling harmonies. The music seemed to have a life of its own, guiding his hand across the parchment in a dance of malevolence. Unbeknownst to Victor, his creation mirrored a forbidden siren song, a melody said to summon spirits from the netherworld. Days turned into nights, and Victor's obsession with the Sinister Serenade grew. His once lustrous hair turned grey, and the bags under his eyes deepened. He no longer ate or slept, his entire existence consumed by the spectral notes that echoed through the mansion. The maids whispered of a ghostly presence haunting the halls, an unseen force that lingered just beyond the threshold of human perception. As Victor neared the completion of his symphony, an ominous presence manifested within the music room. A cold breeze swept through the chamber, extinguishing candles and casting the room into darkness. The ethereal notes of the Sinister Serenade began to play, resonating with an intensity that shook the very foundation of the mansion. In the moonlit gloom, a spectral figure materialized, a siren with flowing ebony hair and eyes that glowed like embers. The room pulsed with a malevolent energy as the siren's song enveloped Victor, ensnaring his soul in a web of supernatural harmony. The composer, entranced and powerless, watched as the siren danced through the shadows, her form both beautiful and grotesque. The mansion itself seemed to come alive with the haunting melody, creaking and groaning as if it were a living being tormented by the spectral music. Victor's family portraits on the walls twisted into grotesque caricatures, their eyes following the siren's every movement. In a desperate attempt to break free from the sinister spell, Victor seized his violin and played along with the siren's song. The discordant duet filled the room, creating a dissonance that echoed through the haunted halls. Yet, no matter how fervently Victor played, the siren's enchanting melody persisted, growing stronger with each passing note. As the night wore on, the mansion itself became a vessel for the siren's malevolence. Shadows took on monstrous forms, and whispers of long-lost secrets echoed through the halls. Victor, now a mere puppet of the Sinister Serenade, played on, his fingers bleeding on the strings, his eyes devoid of sanity. The first light of dawn broke through the curtains, and with it the siren's song began to fade. The spectral figure retreated into the shadows, leaving Victor collapsed on the floor, his body frail and withered. The mansion fell silent, the air heavy with the remnants of the supernatural performance. In the aftermath, the once grand Montague estate crumbled into decay, its halls forever haunted by the Sinister Serenade. Legend had it that, on stormy nights, the eerie melody could still be heard, carried on the wind like a mournful wail. Victor Montague's name lived on in infamy, a cautionary tale for those who dared to meddle with the forbidden music of the netherworld. Decades passed, and the tale of Victor Montague and the Sinister Serenade became a dark legend that sent shivers down the spines of the townsfolk. The Montague mansion stood as a dilapidated monument to the composer's tragic descent into madness, a place where few dared to tread. Yet the haunting melody persisted, weaving its way through the tattered curtains and cracked windows, carried by the whispers of the wind. One stormy night, a young and ambitious musician named Delara ventured into the forgotten town, drawn by the allure of the mysterious composition. Tales of the Sinister Serenade had reached her ears, sparking a reckless curiosity that fueled her journey to the decaying mansion. She believed that within the haunted halls lay the key to unlocking a musical masterpiece, unaware of the peril that awaited her. Delara stepped over the threshold, her violin case clutched tightly in hand. The air within the mansion was thick with the weight of the past, and the walls seemed to echo with the distant cries of the siren. Undeterred, she ascended the creaking staircase, guided only by the ghostly echoes of the haunting melody. As Delara entered the music room, the atmosphere became charged with an otherworldly energy. The air shimmered, and the spectral figure of the siren materialized once again, her gaze fixed upon the intruder. Alara felt the room closing in around her, but an insatiable determination urged her to play along with the enigmatic composition. The sinister serenade enveloped Alara, its notes wrapping around her like a spectral cocoon. As her violin joined the haunting chorus, the room transformed, and the mansion seemed to come alive with a malevolent force. Shadows danced on the walls, taking on grotesque shapes, and the portraits twisted into contorted expressions of agony. The siren, a spectral vision of both beauty and terror, glided towards Alara, her eyes penetrating the young musician's soul. The room pulsed with an unearthly energy as the duet intensified, the walls groaning under the strain of the supernatural performance. As Alara played, she glimpsed fleeting images of Victor Montague in his prime, tormented by the same spectral force that now ensnared her. The room became a surreal tableau of past and present, a nightmarish symphony echoing through the haunted halls. In a desperate attempt to break free, Alara's fingers danced frantically across the strings, pushing against the relentless tide of the sinister serenade. The siren, sensing the musician's struggle, intensified her efforts, her ethereal voice rising to an agonizing crescendo. The storm outside mirrored the tumult within the mansion, thunder and lightning accentuating the dissonant harmony. Alara's vision blurred, and the room spun as the music reached its peak. In a final, haunting note, the spectral siren vanished, leaving Alara alone in the silence that followed. Exhausted and disoriented, Alara found herself in a now eerily quiet room. The mansion, once animated by the supernatural symphony, returned to its desolate state. She clutched her violin, the instrument now marked with the scars of a harrowing encounter. As dawn broke, Alara emerged from the mansion, her face pale and eyes haunted. The sinister serenade had taken its toll, leaving an indelible mark on her soul. The townsfolk, hearing of her ordeal, spoke of a new chapter added to the dark legend of the Montague estate. The mansion, now devoid of both the living and the spectral, stood as a silent witness to the unholy union of music and the supernatural. The sinister serenade persisted, a cursed melody that echoed through the ages, ensnaring the souls of those who dared to dance with the siren in the decaying halls of Montague Manor. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the story. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.